a crazy, insane, totally unhinged, like
Well, she's
past
not right. She's not
72
right.
hours.
An explanation and saying what a problem is how you get better and how you get the solution. It's not cope. Like, okay, an explanation with a clear solution is the path to improvement. Excuses with no path to recovery or to do better is that is cope and stupid. You're right, but nothing that he said was an excuse. What?
Between the Kendrick album coming out, we got the Squabble Up video too. I just got out my review, which was just massively long, big undertaking. Look, an entire lawsuit, rather a verified petition, coming from none other than Drake. Now, the lawsuit isn't against Kendrick Lamar specifically, rather Drake and his Frozen Moments company are suing UMG, his record label, and Kendrick's record label, UMG, as well as Spotify. And we're going to go over the claims right here, right now. The lawsuit here, before I get into it, has not been well received so far. Many people are taking to the internet to call Drake a Karen or somebody who is crying foul for no reason, or at the very least being hypocritical on some level, because Drake being signed for years to UMG as well, and really being that huge flagship artist when it comes to commercial hip-hop success. Chances are, if Kendrick Lamar has received some kind of behind-the-scenes industry push for his music, some inorganic plays, Drake's probably received the same treatment at some point as well. Regardless, though, let us get into the lawsuit. Quick shout-out to our sponsor, though, in this video, the good people over at Factor. Here we go. As the internet's busiest music nerd, I can guarantee...
I had this guy kind of go unbiased into a video, and already his pre-take is whataboutism. It's, a problem? Well, Drake probably did it before, probably did it worse. What a dumb thing to say. It's whataboutism, stupid as fuck. Fuck. What is that? Hold on, somebody's joining Air's video.
You that you're not busier than me. Behold, all the music I must listen to. Behold, all the like twos I must give. Why is it my destiny to bear the weight of this responsibility? How will I ever make it out of this labyrinth? Oh, the food. Plus, if you're vegan like me, again,
find out what
today's video.
When I hear music, it makes me dance. When I hear music, love is your chance. And here we go. We have the petition right in front of us. Let's take a look at it and find out what exactly all the hubbub is about. Why is Drake filing this petition? Okay, nature of the dispute. In this memo to staff reflecting on highlights of 2021, the CEO of UMG, Lucian Grange, remarked on it being harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. 60,000 songs are added to Spotify every day. Yes, I believe I've talked about that at some point on YouTube or on social media, but yes, the major labels for a minute have been basically complaining that it's difficult to put their artists on in this very saturated age of music. We also have Spotify being the world's most popular audio streaming subscription service. As of the end of the third quarter of 2024, Spotify boasted more than 640 million monthly active listeners, active users, and 252 million subscribers. Spotify pays music companies like UMG for the right to license songs so it can play them on its streaming and subscription platforms. That is true. In 2023 alone, Spotify paid more than $9 billion in royalties to music labels and producers. Hip-hop is one of the most popular genres on Spotify, amounting to nearly a quarter of all streams on Spotify globally in 2023. We're essentially just laying out the facts and everything here. What essentially is going to allow Drake and his legal representation the ability to kind of paint the picture that they want to paint here. Spotify and UMG have a long-standing symbiotic business relationship, which is kind of the case with all of the major labels, frankly, and really like the number one issue with how music streaming services are operating right now.
If it's bad and boring,
you're friends with the middleman, and you have this ability to sort of like game the market along with the middleman, because the amount of stores, quote unquote, are so homogenized now. Prior, years ago, before radio stations were all bought up and music stores were plentiful and all over the place, like it was difficult for labels to all kind of collectively have the same sort of very specific very specific control that they have over music streaming services now. The influence that they have over music streaming services now is really kind of like unparalleled, because there's not a lot of operators, and there's not a lot of competition in town. You've only really got like a few different platforms to work with and muscle into doing and pushing what you want them to do and push. UMG, as one of Spotify's earliest supporters, entered into a multi-year global license agreement with Spotify in 2020. UMG and Spotify collaborate on strategic marketing campaigns and products, and in 2024 announced an expansion of their strategic partnership through which Spotify will amplify music discovery and social interaction and enhance fan experiences across the platform platform for UMG's family of artists and songwriters. Based on UMG's financial reporting, Spotify paid UMG around $2.28 billion in 2023, which amounted to 19% of UMG's total revenues in 2023. So we're making the case that UMG is essentially in on this game with Spotify to push certain artists, push certain songs, whatever it is UMG wants to be hype and get out there and turn a profit. But the thing is, again, like, Drake is a part of the UMG family. The thing about this petition is that I think there most likely will be at least some validity to it, a kernel of truth, because, you know, botting streams and inflating streams for a while has been like this open music industry secret that everyone sort of like acknowledges is happening, be it artists, be it Spotify itself, putting out a language sort of saying, yeah, we're going to get tougher on botted streams. There's going to be bigger penalties and so on and so forth. And yet, there's like no big, giant, shining examples of this happening, at least.
It's funny to see like a different pace between streaming and music, right? And now we're hitting a sink in pace when it comes to botting. Botting is like a massive problem, and it was hard to prove, whatever. And now it's like massively used across the board on streams and music at the same time. It's just funny to see it. That now they have the same problem as we do.
Level of a Drake or a Kendrick, and if it is happening on that level, and it is being pointed out, certainly nothing's being done about it. Like what Drake is doing here, whether it's well-intentioned or not, does have serious implications for the future of the music industry. Honestly, we have all of the, sort of like cited works over here for pretty much everything that's been said on this page, Music Business Worldwide, universalmusic.com, so on and so forth. Streaming is essential to UMG's current bottom line and its future business strategy. In a report related to the third quarter of 2024, UMG noted a nearly 29% year-over-year decrease in downloads and other digital revenue because of the continued format shift towards streaming. That is true. UMG's long-term strategy relies on accelerating the growth and monetization from streaming and streaming subscriptions.
Oh, that's fair.
That
what about
makes
it?
Sense. Streaming is pretty much the new way of things. In 2024, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other platforms. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves with a song Not Like Us in order to make that song go viral, including by using bots and pay-to-play agreements. Okay, everything happening up until this point, everything Drake's legal is trying to get across is like, here's the context. This is the context, okay? Talks about the license, exclusive license. On information and belief, UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual licensing rates for Not Like Us in exchange for Spotify affirmatively recommending the song to users who are searching for other songs and artists, so on and so forth. And, also, again, it's not like Drake's music doesn't get shoved down people's freaking throats on Spotify when he has a new release out, when he has a new record out. But I'm kind of digressing here. The point that I want to make here is that this is not the full context. Like, to act as if Not Like Us was just released out of the blue for no reason.
Okay, Baldy fails to understand that that's not the problem at play here. The problem at play is a disproportionate amount. If they push everybody equally, and when something is happening, they push one way more than the other, that poses a problem. That's when it's a problem.
And with not even any awareness of its incoming release. It was a surprise diss track. It was.
If I'm on the front page of Twitch or Kick, whatever, right? One day it's me, other day it's Hassan, me, Hassan, for like a year, right? If Hassan's gonna do a big hit piece or whatever one day, and he's front page for 10 days, and I'm pushed down during 10 days, brother, that push in disproportionately is worth noting 100%. How is that not a possible concern? It's okay to investigate that concern and to bring it up, but it's not. It wasn't
an extra one. It wasn't another one that I think a lot of people didn't see coming necessarily. But for anybody who is watching this video, you're probably screaming right now, thinking like, "Wait, wasn't the biggest rap beef of the past several decades occurring in the midst of this song release?" I suppose it's not out of the realm of possibility that UMG did something to sort of like incentivize Spotify to prominently display the song and make it more likely that people would stumble across it. But like portraying the release of the song in this way is a lie. Like if Kendrick released a track, really any track in the midst of this very heated beef with Drake, which was covered across the internet, drove so much interest and so much traffic. Some of the most popular videos and well-trafficked videos I put out in the past year are about this beef. Like nobody needed, to be incentivized to be like, oh yeah, the Kendrick Drake beef, and maybe I'll check that out. It's the Kendrick Drake beef.
This is classic. Guys, people say that for streamers as well. Oh, this guy was rolling. This guy's doing really good with his streams. Nah, he's not botting. Why does he need to bot? He's already doing really good and being viral. He doesn't. No, that is the number one reason why you would do it, because it would go under the radar. How is that hard to understand? If you're already doing good, you have this cushion of, wow, this could go viral, whatever. You can amplify that layer, right? That is the unknown of how viral can it be. Well, I mean, we can see you just push a little bit more and go crazy, and that layer expands. That's how that works.
Beef? What is that? Is that a type of steak? Is that this petition acting as if the release of the song had no context and that there would have been no interest organically in listening to it is preposterous. Like we can't just simply
Guys,
paint this.
If my stream with Drake had 700K viewers, right? How am I being disingenuous? If my stream with Drake had 800K viewers, 1 million viewers, right? And people said botted, and I said, guys, it's Drake. It's a massive artist, guys. Think about it. It's massive. It's crazy. Of course, it's gonna go viral. It's a massive celebrity, right? So all hints or all mentions that it's probably botted, should that go all on just no credit then? Absolutely not.
As a situation where, I don't know what, Kendrick is some lowly obscure indie artist who nobody's ever heard of, and UMG's taking a chance on him. And so as a result, he's just going to drop his song out of the blue, drop his record with no promotion, and UMG, instead of coming up with a PR campaign, they'd be like, oh yeah, don't worry about getting your stuff out there. We're just going to bot it. Again, as if there was no discourse or conversation or hype on the internet around the topic this song is related to. If this song wasn't pushed to people, if this song wasn't shoved in people's faces by Spotify, nobody would have wanted to hear that. A Drake diss song? Who wants to hear a Drake diss song? That's ridiculous. Who would want to listen to such a thing? You'd have to force me to listen to that. Come on, be so for real. Moving on to the next page. UMG nor Spotify disclosed.
Okay, it was unironically, and I'm not being scheduled about this. I even said it when it came out. That thing was botted the fuck out. This was force fed and ultra botted on all the platforms simultaneously upon release, instantly. It is not up to discussion. It's not a maybe or if, whether it's them doing it or not, the label or not. I'm not going to speak on that. But the fact is, that shit was botted the fuck out on all platforms. That's just it.
The Spotify had received
any other thing is not, you're not
any kind in exchange for
within the reason.
On information and belief, Spotify pays UMG licensing fees through wires or mails. Okay, well, wait a second. Time out. While this agreement could have existed, and I don't think it's fair to smaller artists, that there are, labels and potentially bigger artists cutting these sorts of deals in order to kind of get their music out there. These kinds of arrangements have been a thing. Even Spotify in the past is a tease toward the idea of we'll give artists the opportunity to have their music pushed a little further on the platform if you agree to take a smaller cut of streaming revenue. This is not really a new thing or an illegal thing per se. I'm sure maybe more nefarious stuff is going to come up later in the lawsuit, but this is a claim that, again, it sort of sounds like at this point, unfortunately, kind of typical music industry practice. And, also, again, most likely there are Drake records, loads of different mainstream artists who have seen similar benefits due to deals that their label on their behalf may have cut with Spotify in terms of pushing releases that they have on their roster out there. UMG directly or through Interscope also conspired with and paid currently unknown parties to use bots to artificially inflate the spread of Not Like Us and deceive customers into believing the song was more popular than it was in reality. Bots are software programs designed to mimic human behavior, to appear to be real, social media accounts, so on and so forth, just kind of explaining what bots are, to achieve 30 million streams on Spotify in the first day of the release, Not Like Us, with the goal of jumpstarting the song's spread and turning it into a crazy hit.
Never I would see the day, I thought I would see the day, where, because this guy dislikes Drake so much, he's literally fucking boasting and fucking trying to defend, actual corporate dog shit and botting. What a joke, dude. Imagine if I sat here and I said that about streams. Oh, guys. Oh, is it illegal? Is it illegal to do that? Is it about people having hundreds of thousands of views when they don't have? That'd be crazy. I'd be insane.
What are you quoting? Jambisco Don.
I would be insane. I'd lose my mind.
Academics and okay, this is the source. This is the source over here. A social media user and DJ Academics. That's the source. On information and belief that UMG hired other unknown parties to use bots to promote Not Like Us and also inflate the streams of the Not Like Us music video, which UMG first published on July 4th, 2024. UMG appears to have used similar tactics with other streaming services. On information and belief, UMG paid or approved payments to Apple to have its voice-activated digital assistant Siri purposefully misdirect users to Not Like Us, which, there were some people who posted streams or sort of not streams, but videos online asking Siri to play something, and then it would jokingly redirect them to Not Like Us, which could have been a purposeful thing, could have been a joke thing, could have been a behind the scenes, people screwing around. Either way, it's a weird kind of glitch, it's a weird bias, but it may not have necessarily been nefarious. And what claim Drake's company has to sort of fix this or take issue with this. I don't know. Other online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by recording artists Aubrey Drake, Graham, Siri instead played Not Like Us. So I mean, it may have sort of been like a bit of a mistake with the fact that like that was a really hot, popular song at the moment, and those lyrics do turn up in the song.
Industry. Yes, it is bad to bot, but making a deal to push a song with streaming platforms is normal. Labels will do anything to push/market a song.
I don't think that's the problem here at play. So when it this is my take on it. This is my take, okay? This is my current understanding of how things work. I understand that the status quo is bots are real, bots exist, artificial push will happen for people for the greater good of the label, of the music, of the platform, just for them to have a product that they're pushing. Perfectly fine, right? If that's the baseline, then that's okay. Because it sucks, but it's the world we live in right now. The main problem is when you're if you are allegedly artificially fucking, what is that word so hard to say? Artificially, right? Pushing one over the other while something is going on, whatever, right? And it's disproportionate and being done purposefully. Well, that you can see how that becomes a problem. I think you absolutely can see how that instance can be a bad precedent to set, right? Because then you pick and choose your winners, right? Not based off of interaction, off of involvement. Then you, in this scenario, you would be just picking and choosing, right? And that can be very destructive. It's not good.
Which does contain, those lyrics, an allegation against Drake, which again, notably, this suit is not, this suit is not a defamation suit, but okay, we have news articles here sort of like confirming the Siri playing Kendrick Lamar track. UMG engaged in similar pay-to-play schemes to increase their airplay of Not Like Us on the radio. A petitioner obtained information from a third party indicating that at least one UMG employee made payments to an independent radio promoter, which that's spelled wrong, that should have been fucking fixed, serving as an intermediary who had agreed to transfer those payments to certain radio stations and or radio station employees. These radio stations subsequently played or caused to be played Not Like Us without disclosing that they had been paid to do so. This practice is known as payola. It is prohibited by the Communications Act of 1934, and yet it continued wildly through the 2000s. Drake is going back to upend unfortunate music industry practices that, despite legal bills passed to prevent them, they still freaking happen, and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny by a number of executive agencies.
Okay, so this guy paused the video to do a whataboutism about other incidents that happened in the past 25 years as like some rebuttal. Come on, man. Yo, Balder, you can do better than that. Come on, bro.
In 2006, UMG, of course, was doing it. While historically payola has been thought of in terms of paying radio stations to play songs, in 2020, the Federal Trade Commission released guidance stating that by paying an influencer to pretend their endorsement or review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. On information and belief, UMG employed a similar scheme by paying social media influencers to promote and endorse the song and video. For example, por ejemplo, petitioner understands that UMG paid the popular NFR podcast, which has nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, the NFR Boys, and over 330,000 followers on X to promote Not Like Us and its video without disclosing the payment. As a part of its deal with UMG, in a sea change of UMG's internal policy, UMG removed the song's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the song for the first time in UMG history, while further incentivizing influencers to spread the song. Artists and labels all the time, or at least it's happened quite a few times, they will whitelist a song in order for people who do reactions to react to it without their videos.
Bad, but this isn't even a defamation lawsuit, so how does this suit regarding botting
brother, we don't know what.
To be clear, I agree, botting is problematic.
We don't know what the video is about. I'm watching the video as you are. I'm just saying that whether this is about this or that, if you present the facts like he's doing it, it's being disingenuous. It's being slimy as fuck. I don't give a. This could be about fucking mental trauma, okay, of children, okay, and I don't give a shit. I haven't seen it yet. I don't give a fuck. None of that shit.
Demonetized. I mean, you can argue this is the first time UMG has done this, but this is a thing that's been done, and it's not illegal. And if there is some kind of endorsement or payola going on here, what's the amount of money that's being exchanged here? What evidence do you have of money changing hands? And that's not to sort of cast total doubt, because look, these industry offers of, hey, we'll pay you to react to the song and do this and that. They happen. I get those fucking emails. I always turn them down, but they exist. They're there. However, I would have a hard time believing
Okay. Getting them and accepting one and then playing something without disclosing you were paid for it is fucking dank. Okay, I don't give a fuck when anybody says that shit is dank, especially if you're not like some radio station or like if you're like an individual who takes a payment like that. That's crazy. That's dank.
All
it
of
is
the
dank.
fervor and all of the hype and all of the discussion around Not Like Us that like UMG would be like,
I know these aren't facts, but
this Not Like Us track, nobody's talking about it. It's totally obscure. No one's even aware it's out.
Oh my God, these guys
the
so
public
bald.
know that Not Like Us has been released to the internet.
Brother, how bald can you be, man? Bro, how fucking bold can you be to fucking push this argument? He's saying, oh, a possible illegal payment to promote something without disclosing it? Oh no, it's not like the song wasn't gonna do good. I cannot believe it. Guys, the song was gonna do good anyway, because look, like,
If you don't
shut
tell us,
up.
no one
What
will
a
listen to
stupid
it.
thing to say.
No one will know that Aubrey Graham is a PDF file downloader. Like, what? What reality is this petition living in? I
You
mean,
might be the only
if
person
I-
on earth that could deadass give Ms. Natural a run for her money. Fucking insane.
Brother, I'm telling you, if tomorrow I had this massive stream, a boxing match on my stream, compared to another boxer on his stream, okay, and then I paid Miz and fucking Train, and I paid Pokemon to watch my shit on their streams without disclosing it. They don't disclose it, right? And they do a massive watch party, and I get an extra like 50,000 views or whatever, and I overtake the opponents in views or whatever, right? That would be a problem. It is the exact same thing. It would be a problem to do that and not disclose it. Even though my stream was gonna do it anyway, it's gonna be viral. It's gonna be massive. It's gonna be colossal. It's gonna have a lot of views.
Fantano, but
I understand it will, but that extra cushion, if paid for, has to be disclosed. That's just the way it is.
I really dislike Fantano, but labels literally do this shit all the time. It's very normal.
again, it's not out of the realm of possibility because, you know, I do think labels.
Yo, Mr. Wilbuck, listen. Something being normal is fine, okay? It's a very rare thing to have two things at the same time, right? And it's one against the other. Not like me competing with this guy. It's one against the other and picking a winner. You can see how this, if that was the claim being made, it would be odd. It's okay to investigate this further and to gather data about this and to try to understand the situation better. Like, how is that a problem?
Influencers to react to tracks, to comment on tracks. It is a thing. It's just funny, this insinuation that, like, you know, if not for this YouTuber with 300,000 subscribers, who would even know about this track? I don't know, maybe the tens of millions of Kendrick Lamar fans across the planet. Maybe they would know about it. I guess we have a little tweet here that Interscope reposted. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us becomes the fastest rap song to reach 300 million Spotify streams. Took only 35 days. And of course, like, yes, allegedly, a fraction of those streams are fake. Like, even if 30 million, that 30 million number, like in the first 24 hours was like totally fake. I mean, the rest of them, are the rest of them botted too? Are they all botted? To date, Not Like Us has almost 900 million streams on Spotify and holds the record for the biggest single day streams of hip hop.
This guy is a YouTuber. This guy is a fucking YouTuber. And he has the analytics on how things perform early on. And whenever you post something initially and how that affects into the curve going forward from that first day, it is extremely fucking valid and relevant. It is the most relevant thing. It's why people came at me for fucking React, because I was hurting their initial upload time algorithm because I was cannibalizing their views and cannibalizing their analytics. And I fucked with them on the algorithm. That's how that works. Holy shit. Why are you downplaying the fact that, oh, dude, only 30 million fake views? Dude, those are crucial at the beginning. Holy fuck.
Song and the most streamed diss track in
Oh my
Spotify history.
God,
Not Like Us has
fuck
spent 27
me.
weeks on Spotify City Chart and for City Chart for New York City, which ranks the weekly streaming popularity of songs by users in New York. Within its initial release, Not Like Us broke the record for the most streamed song in a 7-day period with 96 million streams. Man, Drake's company is just singing Kendrick's praises over here. And again, like, no consideration, no possibility that people are listening to this song because they like it, or even just straight out of hatred for Drake. I mean, it's funny that Drake fans will sort of, like, push the narrative that, like, yeah, people only like this song because they hate Drake. Everyone's a Drake hater. Everyone who listens to the song is an op. That's the only reason people like the track. But even the suit doesn't even really acknowledge a reality in which people may just enjoy the song, they may just like it, or they may just dislike Drake. No, it just all has to be sort of, fake and shoved down our throats. UMG schemes to artificially inflate the popularity of Not Like Us were motivated, at least in part, by the desire of executives at Interscope to maximize their own profits. UMG executives have an annual incentive program.
You know what? I haven't seen anybody actually break down all the stats and take the raw stats and expand them in a way that's comprehensible to the normal, common human mortal like us. Okay, I would like to see the actual views curve and whatnot of all YouTube uploads, Spotify uploads. I want to see those curves. I want to see them.
To which they are rewarded for meeting and surpassing sales and profits projections, among other metrics. Okay, the incentives are largely based on the specific UMG division rather than the performative UMG more generally. Okay, again, even if this is true, in most cases, Drake's music would most likely apply. Are we going to sit here and delude ourselves into believing that like all of Drake's fame is like totally organic? It's not pushed by or supported by the industry in any way whatsoever. Like Drake is just this independent artist who has no promo arm whatsoever. There's like, no interest in record labels and streaming services, like getting a certain amount of streams, pushing a certain amount of sales.
Pushing and cannibalizing is not the same practice. Lumping them into one fucking term is the most bald thing that a human can do. Bold. Pushing and cannibalizing is not the same thing. Holy shit.
Hits, even one as mediocre as Honestly Nevermind, there's no incentive, there's no wish for Drake to see commercial success when he drops a record. Of course there is. So any incentives that there would be for, the label to be like, oh, well, this album, it's got to hit a certain amount of streams, it's got to hit a certain amount of sales, or else, this or that, or we're not going to hit this, like, a profit goal and so on and so forth. Like that applies just as much to Drake as it would to Kendrick, as it would to any other major UMG artist. Let's also broaden this out a little bit, because, what's being claimed here doesn't merely just apply to one guy or two guys. It applies to many different music acts across the mainstream. Petitioner has received information that UMG...
Imagine the Malders. If on the front page for 5 days, we had the Kamala Harris podcast and not the fucking Donald Trump, Joe Rogan. What do you think would happen if people... Let's rewrite history and do the exact same thing. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. Let's say when the episodes were released of those podcasts, the Trump interview was nowhere to be seen, not on trending, not on the main page, just on the channel, right? Getting cucked in views. And we had Kamala Harris, fucking Unc Shaq, what the fuck? Shane, fucking the other guy, right? And their podcast shoved down your throat for a full week. All the way in trending, at the top, everywhere on your fucking YouTube. What if that happened? Do you think that you would be upset and would say something about it? It's just YouTube pushing, and it's just YouTube promoting the product. Well, now you understand how it's not about whataboutism. It's not whataboutism. It is a fair comparison of two identical scenarios of one opponent to the other, while the platform pushes one and not the other. One is being cannibalized as the other one is being pushed. Is what it is.
Has been taking steps in an apparent effort to conceal its schemes, including but not limited to by terminating employees associated with or perceived as having loyalty to Drake. Indeed, UMG has demonstrated that it has no interest in taking responsibility for its misconduct. Over the past several months, Drake has repeatedly sought to engage UMG in discussions to resolve the ongoing harm he has suffered as a result of UMG's actions. UMG refused to engage in negotiations and insisted that UMG is not responsible for its own actions. Instead, UMG has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth, insisting...
When I said initially, okay, that there was no cannibalizing when I uploaded to YouTube, okay, from another guy's reaction video, it's the fact that my audience is not the same as his audience. An audience will not watch that, okay? And on top of that, it is not the platform that's doing it artificially. It is me doing it grassroots. That is completely different. Artificial, grassroots. Two products that interact. Two products that don't interact. You're missing, you're changing both fucking pieces, and you're trying to put it in the same equation.
This is that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth instead, and even threaten to bring its own legal claims against Mr. Duckworth if Drake were to pursue claims against UMG. Whoa, that's some odd inside baseball. Drake is not going the path of least resistance, I guess. Streaming and licensing is a zero-sum game every time a song breaks through. It means another artist does not, which, I mean... Okay, again, does Drake not count? Does Drake not count? Are we really arguing at this point that, like, Not Like Us being popular is Kendrick taking... shine away from, like, the humble underground obscure rappers and artists out there who's nobody.
I predicted it. They're making the point that one cannibalized the other intentionally by UMG, and that's what they're saying as a claim. And I think there's some validity there. Perhaps, in my opinion, when I saw the songs come out, yeah, I mean there was some bullshit happening for sure. But is it them doing it, whatever? I guess we'll never know. But
who nobody's heard of before?
No proof, brother. You're fucking brain dead. What I just said doesn't need proof because it absolutely was botted, but we don't know by whom. You can never prove botting it. We've been saying that on Twitch for the last 10 fucking years. We've been on this topic for the last decade that you cannot fucking prove it. That's what it is. It's what
as far as I'm concerned, with UMG, both Kendrick and Drake are taking up time, promotional muscle, and a bunch of other stuff that, yeah, sure, other artists could be eating up that time. Other artists who could use the money, could use the exposure, could use the career boost. I mean, again, this applies to both of you guys. As much as I enjoy Kendrick's music, as Drake is a petitioner's sole owner, and petitioner owns the copyright of Drake's entire catalog, petitioner suffered economic harm as a result of UMG's scheme, and it's also being filed as like a RICO thing. So it's not even just sort of a regular and normal sort of petition or suit, be it fraud or, claiming damages or something like that. Drake is going full RICO. This is organized. You guys are colluding over here illegally, which frankly is crazy. Petitioner has a viable cause of action for civil RICO with predicate acts of wire fraud, mail fraud, and or bribery for UMG's payments to unknown third parties in the form of reduced licensing fees to Spotify. However, petitioner requires additional information in order to frame this complaint and satisfy the heightened rule, pleading standard applicable to complaints, apologies for cutting that off, complaints sounding in fraud. Specifically, petitioner requires information about the method by which the third parties were paid in order to determine which underlying predicate acts to plead, and requires information about which benefits were conferred upon UMG in exchange for the payments. Additionally, petitioner lacks sufficient information to identify the third parties who acted in conspiracy with UMG. So, we're kind of like pushing in a RICO direction. And if this action does move forward, presumably there would be some kind of mutual process of discovery. It's like an inference of collusion, and there would be exchanges of emails, legal documentation, so on and so forth. And in the midst of that, there would be some kind of like a revelation or uncovering of supposed truths. The argument that Drake and his company is making over here. Now, the thing is, in the process of discovery or up to the point at which some kind of like legal discovery process would happen, a lot of parties end up sort of like settling something, or will find a way to kind of come to an agreement because they would like to avoid the potential of anything kind of like coming to light. Because if this suit does actually go to court, a lot of things would be kind of ripped out of the closet, not only in terms of like Kendrick and Drake, but
Kendrick and Drake and everybody else at the same time, right? I mean, this is bad for everybody. Do you think about it?
Probably numerous artists across the music industry. If there is some kind of like greater scheme of like botting and paying Spotify to push stuff and so on and so forth, it would all be exposed. It would all be, brought into the light, which, despite Drake obviously being in his feelings and being a whiny baby and taking this whole thing like way too freaking personally, it would actually be like a really great net positive to come out of the situation if in fact this suit does go that far. Now, I think the likelihood of it going that far might be kind of difficult. A judge might throw it out. UMG might find some kind of way to settle. Drake might realize that he's bit off a bit more than he could chew, and he'll change his mind. Either of those things could happen. Even if Drake is right, even if what Drake is saying here, he has a point. Like, at the end of the day, he most likely has seen at least some of the benefit of a similar kind of push, a similar kind of behind-the-scenes promotion in order to make his music as popular as it is. And all that would result in is like some kind of like mutually assured destruction between him and between Kendrick and between UMG. Things wrapping up toward the end here, but for the most part, that is pretty much this petition, all of its major claims. So pretty big dump, pretty big bomb dropping over here, pretty big.
It's not a bad video. I just think he's been disingenuous about the whole thing. I mean, generally, actually disingenuous about it. Like, just the way you approach those topics. It's like I think even though you don't like one of the parties, you have to have a take that is kind of conservative or kind of reserved, because in the future, when you have another instance of this happening, well, I mean, it's going to be used against you, and you're going to look like a fucking dumb fuck. You're going to look like an idiot.
Claim on Drake's part. And look, again, I understand how optically this looks for Drake right now. But truth be told, again, the botting thing has been an open secret in the industry for quite a while now. There most likely is some validity to the claims Drake is making right here. And, if UMG is to sort of like fold under the threat of these claims because they're afraid of having to expose what would come out into the light if Drake pushed this all the way into court, what exactly would Drake be owed in the midst of all of this? Would it be some money? Would it be a sorry? Would the label have to post a video of you know, them beating up Kendrick Lamar, like, oh, you're a bad boy? In the midst of me shooting this video, a second Drake leak.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be admission of wrongdoing or fucking financial settlement, or these things can go all different ways. Let's take a look.